going to do 2 chapters at once. As I told you guys before, these 2 chapters traditionally were 1 chapter, and they separated them into 2 for some reason or another. However, I still teach them as 1 because they're 2 sides of one of the same coin. And their chapter 15 is job order costing, and chapter 16 is process costing, right? So the first chapter we'll go over is chapter 15. And what we're going to learn in both chapters, what we're going to learn is how to find cost of a product. How to find cost of a product. And job costing, chapter 15, we're looking at the cost of something big. So think of, airplanes or airplanes or buildings or construction material, right? Like a crane. These are large items. When we get to chapter 16, we'll be looking at smaller items, right? So, also you could use job costing for services like hospitals and law firms. But for the for what we're going to do today, we're going to go looking at it for small, big items. What happens when you are conducting job order costing? A client, let's say for instance, give you an example, Delta will contact Boeing and ask to purchase a plane. So Boeing will receive an order from that customer. They will make a prediction about it or an estimation on what it will cost for them to make the plane for Delta. They'll send that order back. And then if Delta agrees to it, then there'll be some negotiation. They'll say, well, we want the seat colors to be like red, or we want this type of fabric. So there'll be some conversation about some of the intricacies of the request. And once they come down to a solid agreement, then Boeing will schedule a production of job or schedule to do the job. Just like I told you before, there are 3 things that go into creating a product. There is direct materials, direct labor, and overhead. Please remember that as we do this. This chapter is going to be very, very easy. The 3 things that go into making saw this thing. Hold on. Direct materials, direct labor, and overhead. So first I'll show you how to do direct materials. So this is a job cost sheet. Most of the time, this will be done in the background now. This wouldn't be something you would see, but I'm gonna show you manually how this is done. So say for instance, we have an employer or customer, Carol Connor, that wants a level 1 alarm system for her Ford Expedition. So the first thing is we find out, well, how much are the direct materials? Well, the direct materials come from the materials requisition. Remember, the person working on the vehicle will contact the inventory manager and say, hey, we have an order for alarm system. We need you to send us the alarm system wiring. So when they send the alarm system wiring, we're gonna put that onto this little ledger card, and we'll put it onto the job cost sheet. However, whatever it costs for that wiring, that's what we'll put on the sheet. Any questions on that? And that'll be direct materials. Questions? All right. Hearing none. We'll move on to direct labor. Direct labor, if you think direct materials is easy, direct labor is easier. All we do, individuals, oh, I don't even have my swipe badge, but individuals swipe in and out. So all we do is when the individual swipes their badge to clock in, that will be their start time. When they swipe out, that's their finish time. We'll take that time, if you see here, is this time elapses 3 hours, multiply it by their hourly rate, in this case, $20 an hour, to give them $60 in total cost. And we put that $60 onto the sheet as direct labor. Any questions about how to find direct labor? All right, as I said before, silence is no. So we're moving on to factory overhead. Factory overhead is easier to find than direct labor. Factory overhead actually is a function of direct labor. That's why it's easier to find than direct labor. So what that means is we're going to take something called the predetermined overhead or the POR, multiply it by direct labor in order to find overhead. How do we find the predetermined overhead? We're going to take the estimated total manufacturing cost for the coming period and divide it by the estimated total direct labor cost. In this case, we're going to take 200,000 divided by 125,000, and you'll get 160%. And so you'll take that 160% times it by what you have for direct labor. In this case, we have $1,000 for direct labor. And we will get $1,600 for overhead. Any questions?
Do you mind going back to that last slide there?
This one?
Yeah, I'm just gonna snap a picture. Thank you.
Okay.
All good.
All right. Any questions? After that, the rest of this is about flow. Right, so cost flow, which is you purchase raw materials, the direct materials. So envision a company like Tesla. I think we've done this before, so you'll see this in other slides. Think of a company like Tesla. When Tesla buys inventory, the inventory manager puts it in inventory. When the floor manager wants to create, let's say 10 vehicles, they'll contact the inventory manager, say, hey, we need 40 tires, we need 10 brake systems, 10 transmissions, 10 engines, so on and so forth. When that happens, we're going to debit direct materials because those things will get sent to the floor, to manufacturing floor. So we'll debit that onto goods in process and credit direct materials. Now, the inventory manager also has indirect materials. Let's say, for instance, the CEO needs a new laptop. When they buy a new laptop, they're going to debit factory overhead and credit indirect materials. Now, that's the material side. On the labor side, they're going to incur labor. The individuals who work directly on the Tesla will be debited to, I'm trying to get it back up. they're gonna be debited onto goods in process and credited to the factory payroll. The C-suites and all the indirect labor, human resources, they'll be debited onto factory overhead and credited onto payroll. And when the product is ready to be moved to finished goods, we're gonna debit all that indirect labor and that indirect materials off of overhead onto goods in process. Now goods in process will have direct materials, direct labor, and overhead. We're going to credit all of that off and debit it onto finished goods. And then when the product is sold, we'll debit cost of goods sold and credit finished goods. Any questions? Okay. Over and under applied, I'm not gonna go over that. This is flow again, right? Debit raw materials inventory, credit accounts payable when they buy product. When the direct materials go on to the factory floor, you're gonna debit goods in process, credit raw materials. When indirect materials, remember the CEO laptop is given to them, they'll be debiting factory overhead and crediting raw materials inventory. When payroll, so that's direct materials, direct labor, will pay your payroll, so you debit your factory payroll, credit your cash. Then those individuals who work directly on creating product, we're gonna debit that to goods in process and credit them off of factory payroll. The indirect labor, we're gonna debit on the factory overhead and credit factory payroll. Now we'll have some overhead costs that occur during the period, maybe prepaid insurance, utilities, all those things will get debited onto factory payroll and credited off of their accounts. Then when the good is ready to be moved into from goods in process over to finished goods, first thing you're gonna do is debit goods in process with the factory overhead. And then second, you'll debit the finished goods with goods in process. And then when it's sold, you would debit cost of goods, credit the finished goods inventory. And that's it. Questions on chapter 15?